when I was going throughout the summer, just doing work again every day, making a ton of calls, I was going through something known as pain. A lot of it, like I was going through an enormous amount of this growing pain. It was very very nasty. It was just very unpleasant, and it would keep me awake at night, and it would wake me up, causing me to be anxious in the morning. I would just have dreams about making freaking calls, and um, this just kept going on for a while. It just kept going on until it just started to gradually slow off because my body started to get tired of causing me so much pain because it was also going through the pain, and it had to adapt, and something had to trigger some kind of conditional statement saying, okay, if this person keeps doing this, then gradually up this ante, up this up this sort of threshold of pain tolerance, and that's what ended up happening. And today I made probably over 100 calls. To be honest, I was supposed to get to 100, but I didn't quite get because I went over to a town to get some uh, like a little lunch thing. So I wasn't able to get technically the full 100, but I got through. I probably made well over 100 calls anyway. It's just individual calls that were supposed to be specifically pitching. Well, that was just slightly under 100, and the thing was, those calls were pretty nasty. like, they would have absolutely, like, five of them would have destroyed me 2 months ago because the UK is like, I don't know if it's more brutal than Ireland, but it's certainly something I'm not as used to. I just don't really know how to talk to a UK person as well as I would an Irish person because I just don't seem to have as good success with them. They're kind of like almost offended by my advances in the way that I'm just cold calling them, whereas people in Ireland would be a bit more laid back about it. But anyway, that would have caused a person a lot of torment, a lot of torment. But like as I said before, my body built up this sort of tolerance to it, and so I am somewhat more able to actually deal with the onslaught of offended people who are questioning who I am and where I'm from. It doesn't feel as bad to me anymore, and I still have a long way to go. And I was in Charlie Morgan's Q&A the other day. I asked him a question about um, does pain tolerance decrease like a muscle over time if you stop doing the cold calls? That was kind of the question. He said, "Yeah, of course it does." So I'm going to have to come up with a plan to keep this habit up over my college days that are to come for the next few months. I'm probably going to have to do it for a couple of hours in the evening to the US or something, because if I stop completely, then I'm going to get comfortable, and that's just a form of resistance. I feel like if you stop doing them for a while, or if you stop doing them even for a couple of days, as long as you don't submit to resistance and just let your mind say, let don't let your mind say, oh, thank God that we're not doing that. Like if you let your mind get away with saying that, and if you let your mental state get away with being, oh, that's nice, yeah, oh, I can finally relax now, you're going to get absolutely destroyed when you have to go back to it, because that really is what sort of undermines your pain tolerance. It's stuff like that. So you have to kind of be like, okay, I can't make these because I'm just not able to. Circumstances don't permit me to. Whatever. Like you can't let yourself get comfortable. You have to kind of stay tense in a way, stay on guard, and that's exactly what I am now. I am really tense and on guard, and it doesn't mean I'm not going to be able to sleep tonight. It just means I am not particularly enjoying my present experience whatsoever, because there's like a good bit of it. I actually did manage to generate a decent amount of pain, and I was even able to feel some of it this evening right after dinner, and it was unpleasant. I was like, yeah, yeah, okay, I understand, but it's like I'm more of an observer than a victim of it, because it doesn't overwhelm me at all. I just notice it. It's like, oh yeah, it's like, stabbing a zombie who has already been killed by having his head cut off. That's exactly what it's like. It's not really much of a big bummer at this point, and it's just something to get used to. And I I was about to say thankfully there. Thankfully, you know, you just have to crush that resistance. You have to freaking mash its head into a wall, whatever you have to do to kill it, just kill it. Basically, my resistance was about to make me say that. Thankfully, I don't. I only have one more week of this calling to do. But I'm just thinking, okay, I only have one more week of this calling to do. That's pretty inconvenient. Why is that? It's because of college. Well, what can I do instead? I'm gonna use a Pepper software for Facebook and um, cold DM hundreds of people every day, and I'm gonna also cold email hundreds of people every day, and I'm also gonna cold call people to the US. So I'm not gonna make myself let I'm not gonna let myself get comfortable, and not to mention on top of it, I'm gonna have freaking course content to learn, which I really could not be bothered with at this present moment. It just doesn't. I don't care about it, and I'm sick of listening to lecturers saying that, yeah, you get to work hard and you get to be like me and you get to teach and stuff. Yeah, you know, um, I. It's not that I dislike lecturers. It's just that I don't think that they provide enough value to the students to actually, keep their job. I suppose it's just research and stuff. But what do they really do? Like, what value to society does it really bring? Just theoretical research that's going to be possibly helpful in a couple hundred years. I don't really, like, it's not like I don't enjoy doing them. Well, it's just that I kind of enjoy doing them less now than when I did before. I used to I used to kind of enjoy it maths when I was in secondary school because it was. I'm not going to say it was the only subject I was good at because I was pretty good at all the subjects, but I was. I just felt like it was kind of more fun and more somewhat challenging at first. Well, it wasn't. Not that it was challenging, but it was. It made me think in a different way, and that was kind of, I don't know. It just gave me dopamine. I'm not gonna say I liked it because when you like something, it's just because it's dopamine. So maybe you like it, but it's just dopamine. Everything is either dopamine, or serotonin, or oxytocin, or endorphins at the end of the day, and it's likely going to be one of the first two. It's either going to be dopamine or it's going to be serotonin. That's also given me a bit of serotonin because I could prove my somewhat dominance to some other people that I knew, and I wasn't like it, it's not like some kind of, oh, I was better than anyone. It's just that, oh, I got 1% higher than you in this or something like that. People did it to me as well. It's just the way to go the world went at that time. But that's basically the only thing the maths entailed, and it's a frivolous thing. Like there's no real reasoning behind it. Like the maths for in my life is it's a figment of the slow lane, the financial slow lane, where you work for 50 years until you're about 67 years old, and then you retire a half millionaire or a millionaire or something. Like I could have possibly ended up being a millionaire, or maybe even a double millionaire or something by the time I retired if I was in an actuarial job or something. If I'd saved up a ton of my money, I could have had a good life. I could have went on holiday. I could have went home for the weekend. I could have played some video games, then went back in on Monday, and then working again and again, enjoying it slightly less each year, but putting up with the job anyway because my life is good enough to live. But it's not. It's not exactly my ideal life, but I accept it anyway because there's not really any other choice at this point. That's not the situation I want to end up in. I'd rather go through absolute torture now, absolute nightmarish agony now, and which I'm not really anymore because I'm more pain tolerant. And at that point, I'll be able to just do anything that I want, and I won't have to go to work. I'll do something more important than just job work, corporate work. I'll do work that actually means something, not just work where I draw up insurance plans for people, or I calculate the financial forecasting for the next decade or something like that. I'd rather do something that, for one, it pays me more. Well, like the payment isn't really the thing that I care about so much. Well, I do obviously care about money, but I saw on the Yale University course, which I did, it was for well-being. You can look it up, the Science of Well-being by Coursera. It's free, and basically anybody making an income of over 75 grand is basically as happy as each other. Like, as long as you're making over 75 grand, that's easily enough to live a decently comfortable life. The condition is that, no, I could be making like 150 grand with the actuarial income in the next couple of years, but I have to work for 10 years to achieve that. So I'm going to be basically uncomfortable until I'm about 28. And not to mention, I'm already pretty uncomfortable now, just sitting around here doing nothing. I was really uncomfortable last year during the summer, and it was bloody awful. Like, I hated it. It was terrible. I had nothing to do, nothing to strive for, and this summer has been the most painful summer I've ever sat through. But now, coming through the end of it, I'm an absolute monster, and I can feel like I can endure anything because I basically have. And now that I've done that, I've somewhat proved that I can transform into a different person, and I've cemented my brain's ability to perceive myself as a person who never quits, and therefore my brain is never going to quit either on me. So I'm not going to wait for 10 years to become an actuary, and I'm not going to sacrifice about 40 hours of my week for the rest of my life. No thanks. Like, I'm not gonna be one of those TGI Fridays who bloody drives home in Galway and who beeps at pedestrians who don't walk fast enough for them. Like, I'm not going to be one of those people who buys a freaking 232 Vauxhall Jeep and looks nice for the fam and takes Instagram selfies, but then also simultaneously shackles himself into a lifetime of financial servitude by buying that thing. That's not what I want. I'm not going to live for my possessions, and I'm not going to even own my possessions. I'm just going to live a life where I know that I am better. I just know that I am better. I have some pretty petty motives stepped up and stored up in my brain, but it's kind of what you need. If you can prove something to yourself, then that's great. Plus, I sort of need therapy as well, so I'm gonna get that when I start getting money, which I hope will be soon. Another painful thing, well, it wasn't even painful, it was actually, I was pretty proud of myself for doing this. I called up the guy who told me multiple times, okay, don't really want to do this onboarding thing, can we talk about, like, I organised a call where we could just get everything out on the table on Saturday, and we can just get everything out. You know, he hopefully I can be understanding, and I'm not going to try and shove the onboarding process down his throat. But man, clients are a tricky business. Like, it's like, you know, wow, you did all the work to actually get somebody into a meeting and then finally get somebody on board, and then they suddenly decide, no, actually I don't want to do this. Like, it's like, what the heck, man? You said, you told me you would. Person that person who those people who told me that, suddenly we actually unfortunately we have no use for your services at this time. Like, they haven't gotten back to me yet, and I've tried calling them again, and they're just not replying. They completely ghosted me, essentially. Like, what, one warning that they weren't coming on to the morning call, and that was it. Like, it's just a problem. It's problem solving, and it's jeez, it's bloody disheartening. It's not fun at all, but I had to get through it anyway. No point in go like bawling, crying about it, because it's gonna happen anyway. One thing I am noticing though is that I just feel like going to sleep when I'm calling. It's like resistance takes the form of supposed tiredness. Even now when I'm doing this, I'm fighting tiredness. I don't know if I look tired. I don't think I do. I don't have bags under my eyes really. I don't have really anything, but I'm struggling with tiredness anyway. Perceived tiredness. Maybe I just don't run enough. So yeah, basically make sure that you kind of eventually, you know, when you keep going through pain every day, you're gonna get better at it, and it's not gonna be so painful. I can promise you that. Like I've been going through complete pain for the last couple of months, and I don't even feel it that much anymore because my body is just numb to it. Now, bear in mind, there's gonna be this one day, this one particular day, that stands out above the rest in terms of how awful it is. For me, it was Thursday, the 3rd of August. That day was just complete hell from beginning to end. It was really the worst day I've ever experienced in terms of pain. It was extreme. It took willpower and determination to get past that day. But once I got past that day, I've never felt as much pain since. And maybe I'll feel more pain in the future than that day, but as of now, I don't. I think I'm kind of safe for it. Maybe that's just resistance talking. In which case, I'll go through that day again 10 times over in a row. But not now. Anyway, if you're thinking of endeavoring in something like that, just know there's a lot of pain involved, but it's not permanent. So you might feel like utter garbage, but that garbage feeling, like even even the happiest feeling in the world, is just fickle, and it's not like it's not as important as fulfillment or as um, possibly grief. I don't know. Grief isn't really pain; it's just relief. Anyway, have a good day.